Let me paint you a scene. You're at a gun show. You're holding a shotgun that's been in your family longer than you've been alive. And you're thinking, it's just an old shotgun. Then some guy walks up, real calm, real friendly. He says, I'll give you $300 right now. And in that moment, you feel relief. Fast cash, no hassle, problem solved. But what you don't realize is this. He's not buying a shotgun. He's buying your mistake. Because that old shotgun you just dumped for $300 might be a $3,000 gun in 5 years. And once it's gone, you're not getting it back. Not for $300, not for $1,000, sometimes not at all. Here's the brutal truth I've watched play out at ranges, estates, and gun shows for years. The seller usually thinks they're being smart. The buyer knows they just stole history. So if you inherited a shotgun, if you've got one in the back of the safe, if you've ever thought about selling one because it's just sitting there, you need to hear this. Because I'm about to show you 7 shotguns that are quietly climbing in value. Steady, relentless, almost invisible, until they're out of reach. And if you own even one of them, the smartest thing you can do is lock it down, preserve it, and pass it on. This is your warning. Number 7, the Remington 870 Wingmaster, pre-1987 production. Most folks hear Remington 870 and they picture a mass-produced pump shotgun, the kind you can find in just about every pawn shop in America. And they're not totally wrong. The 870 is the best-selling shotgun of all time, with over 11 million made since it launched in 1950. But the 870 coming off a factory line today, and the 870 Wingmaster Remington was building in the 1960s and 1970s. Those are not the same gun. They share a name, and that's about where the similarities stop. Those early Wingmasters were hand-fitted. The bluing was deep, rich, done with a level of care modern production just can't afford anymore. The walnut stocks were hand-checkered. Inside, the parts were machined from solid steel, not stamped out of sheet metal, and the action on a pre-1987 Wingmaster is so smooth, shotgun guys will tell you it feels like running a well-oiled bolt-action rifle. No rattle, no grit, just that fluid, mechanical perfection you feel the second you pick it up. Now here's the dividing line. 1987, that's when Remington changed hands, and that's when the cost-cutting started. Machine parts got swapped for stamped components. Bluing quality took a hit. Walnut got replaced with cheaper wood or straight-up synthetic stocks. And the hand-fitting that made the Wingmaster a Wingmaster vanished. Since then, collectors have drawn a harder and harder line between pre-express and post-express 870s. And the market tells the story better than I ever could. 10 years ago, a pre-1987 Wingmaster in good original condition was a $200 to $300 gun. Nobody was hunting them. They were just old pump shotguns. Today, clean, original examples are selling for $500 to $800. And the premium setups? Left-hand models, 16-gauge versions, the TB trap models. Those are pushing past $1,000. That's a 200 to 300% jump in a decade on a gun most people treated like it was common as dirt. And here's the part that makes this urgent. Remington went through bankruptcy in 2020. The brand got broken apart, and the historic Ilion, New York plant was shut down by March 4, 2024. There will never be another Remington 870 Wingmaster made the way those older guns were made. The supply is finite, and every year it shrinks as guns get refinished, parted out, or destroyed through plain old neglect. So if you own a pre-1987 Wingmaster in original condition, you're holding a piece of American manufacturing history that's gaining value month by month. Do not sell it. Do not refinish it. Do not swap the wood for synthetic. Leave it exactly the way it is. Number 6, the Ithaca Model 37 Featherlight, pre-mid-1980s original era production. If you've never handled an Ithaca Model 37, there's something you need to understand. This shotgun is different from basically every other pump gun ever built. It loads and ejects from the bottom, not the side, the bottom. That one design choice, rooted in a John Browning patent, created a shotgun with advantages no other pump action can truly match. Because there is no side ejection port, the Model 37 is naturally sealed up from above. Rain, snow, dust, mud. Nothing is falling into that action from the top or the side. And that's exactly why law enforcement grabbed onto it. The New York City Police Department carried the Model 37. The Los Angeles Police Department carried the Model 37. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department carried it for decades. It served in World War II, in Korea, in Vietnam, and special operations guys, including Navy SEALs, ran Model 37s in country with stakeout-style setups, showing up in that era of close quarters work down in the Mekong Delta. Now here's the history piece a lot of people miss. Ithaca changed hands a bunch over the years, and by the mid-1980s, that original run of classic production was effectively over. The name got bought, revived, and reshuffled multiple times after that, but collectors know the difference. They draw a hard line between the earlier guns and many of the later versions. A decade ago, an original Model 37 Featherlight in good condition was a $250 to $400 shotgun. Today, those same guns are pulling $600 to $1,200, and the curve is getting steeper. Military and law enforcement contract guns, especially trench and riot configurations, bring even more. And those Los Angeles City marked Model 37s? They've become true collector pieces. Documented examples are climbing above $1,500. The Model 37 is one of those firearms people buy once and don't let go. It's lightweight, fast handling, dead reliable, and it carries a heritage that runs 8 decades deep through American military and law enforcement history. So if you spot one at a gun show, especially with original Ithaca markings and the earlier serial number ranges, buy it, you won't regret it. And whoever inherits it from you won't regret it either. Number 5, the Winchester Model 12. Winchester called it the perfect repeater, and for once that marketing line wasn't fluff. The Model 12 hit the scene in 1912 and stayed in production till 1964. That's a 52-year run with nearly 2 million built. But here's what makes the Model 12 different from every modern pump shotgun sitting on shelves today. It was built entirely from machined steel. Every component. No stampings, no castings, no shortcuts. The receiver was milled from a solid steel billet. Internal parts were individually fitted. And the result was an action so smooth and so fast, competitive shooters discovered they could slam fire it, holding the trigger while cycling the pump, and it would run faster than many semi-automatic shotguns of that era. The Model 12 earned legend status in World War I. The trench gun version was so effective up close that Germany launched a formal protest in 1918, arguing it violated the Hague Rules of War. That protest went nowhere. American soldiers kept their trench guns, and those trench guns, with bayonet lugs, ventilated heat shields, and 20-inch barrels, are among the most valuable military shotguns in the world today. But even the standard field-grade Model 12s are climbing. In 1964, Winchester dropped the Model 12 and replaced it with the Model 1200, a cheaper, stamped receiver shotgun, easier to produce, and missing everything that made the Model 12 special. That 1964 cutoff created what collectors call the pre-64 Winchester dividing line, a bright red boundary that applies to Model 12 shotguns the same way it applies to Model 70 rifles. Anything made before 1964 sits in a totally different category for quality, collectability, and value. 10 years ago, standard 12-gauge field-grade Model 12s were $300 to $500 guns. Today, they're selling for $700 to $1,500 depending on condition and configuration. Move into trap and skeet versions, and now you're looking at $1,500 to $3,000. Find one in 28 gauge, and you just stepped into a world where prices start around $3,000 and can run well over $5,000. Pre-war production adds another premium on top of that. The trend line is obvious. It's clear, consistent, unbroken. The Model 12 has been appreciating for decades, and there's no reason to believe it's stopping now. We're 3 shotguns into this list, and we're already talking about guns that have doubled or tripled in value over the last decade, while most folks weren't paying attention. So here's my question for you. Do you own any of these first 3? And if you do, did you have any clue what they're actually worth right now? Drop it in the comments, because I have a feeling some of you are about to get a real surprise. Number 4. The Browning Auto 5. John Moses Browning is the most important firearms designer in human history. That's not an opinion. That's just an honest assessment of what that man built. He designed the 1911 pistol, the Browning High Power, the M2 heavy machine gun, the BAR. The list is almost ridiculous in its scope, and yet when Browning was asked which design he considered his greatest achievement, he didn't name the 1911. He didn't point to the machine gun. He pointed to the Auto 5. The Auto 5, introduced in 1902, was the first commercially successful semi-automatic shotgun in the world. Browning invented the long recoil operating system specifically for that gun, a system so solid, mechanically, it stayed in production until 1998. And that humpback receiver profile? It makes the Auto 5 one of the most recognizable firearms ever made. You can spot one from across a room. Early production was handled by Fabrique Nationale, FN, in Belgium. And those Belgian-made Auto 5s are the crown jewels of the whole lineup. The hand engraving on Belgian FN guns is beautiful. The bluing is deep and glossy, and the walnut has a richness and figure modern mass production just doesn't replicate. Among collectors, the pecking order is pretty simple. Belgium-made guns at the top, then early Japanese production, with late Japanese and final year models down at the bottom. And inside the Auto 5 world, one variant stands apart, the Sweet 16, a 16-gauge Auto 5 built on a purpose-made frame slightly smaller than the 12-gauge. It earned that nickname because the balance of weight, power, and handling just feels right. The Sweet 16 is one of the most loved shotguns in the American sporting tradition, and collectors have been driving that price up for years. A standard post-war Belgian Auto 5 and 12-gauge was a $400 to $600 gun 5 to 7 years ago. Today, those same guns are moving at $800 to $1,400. Belgian Sweet 16s in excellent original condition are hitting $1,500 to $3,000. Pre-war A-grade guns and anything in the higher engraving grades can break $5,000 and keep climbing from there. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. FN in Belgium is never making these again. The tooling is gone. The craftsmen who built them are gone. Every Belgian Auto 5 that exists is all there will ever be. That supply curve only moves one direction. Number 3, the Remington Model 1100, early production, pre-1977. The Remington 1100 did something in 1963 that permanently changed the shotgun world. It made the gas-operated semi-automatic shotgun reliable, affordable, and genuinely pleasant to shoot. Before the 1100, semi-automatic shotguns were usually one of three things: expensive, temperamental, or brutal in recoil. The 1100's gas system bled off a portion of those expanding gases to cycle the action. And by doing that, it reduced felt recoil in a way that was honestly revolutionary for shooters back then. Within a few years, the 1100 became a dominant competition shotgun in America and one of the best-selling autoloading shotguns in U.S. history. But just like the Wingmaster, there's a dividing line. The early 1100s, especially those made before 1977, were built to a standard later production didn't always maintain. Bluing was deeper, walnut was better. Internal parts were machined to tighter tolerances. As Remington shifted into higher volume and cost reduction in the late 1970s and beyond, the quality dropped in ways experienced shooters can feel. You can hand somebody a 1968 Remington 1100 and a 1988 Remington 1100, and an old-school shotgun guy will tell you the difference in 30 seconds. The collector market has reacted accordingly. 10 years ago, standard 12-gauge field models from the pre-1977 era were $300 to $400. Today, clean, original examples are bringing $500 to $800. But the real heat is in the sub-gauges and the competition grades. A pre-1977 model in 28-gauge or 410 bore in original skeet or trap configuration is now a $1,000 to $2,500 gun. Tournament and premier grades, Remington's top-tier offerings can exceed $3,000 when you find exceptional examples. And just like the 870 story, Remington's bankruptcy and breakup added real urgency here. There will be no more original Remington 1100s from the classic Remington era. What remains is what exists. And every year, the pool of clean, original, early examples gets smaller and smaller. We're past the halfway point now, and the top 3 on this list is where things get truly wild. These aren't just guns gaining value. These are guns quietly sliding into the same investment category as fine art and rare coins. But before we go there, I want to hear from you. What is the most you have ever seen a shotgun sell for? Gun show, auction house, private sale. Drop the number and the model in the comments. The stories that come out of this community never stop amazing me. Number 2, the Winchester Model 21. If you want to understand why the Winchester Model 21 sits where it sits in American firearms history, you need one fact most people never learn. A lot of longtime collectors say Winchester didn't really make money building Model 21s the way they built them. That gun was too expensive to build, too labor-intensive to produce at scale, too obsessively crafted to ever be a profit machine. And Winchester built them anyway for 60 years because the Model 21 wasn't just a product, it was a statement. It was Winchester saying, "This is the finest side-by-side shotgun American manufacturing can produce, and we'll prove it." Production started in 1931, right as the Great Depression was squeezing the country hard. The timing was awful. A premium double-barrel shotgun launched into a collapsing economy should have been a forgotten footnote. Instead, it became a legend. The Model 21 was designed and promoted by John M. Olin himself, the man who bought Winchester through the Western Cartridge Company and saved it from financial ruin. Olin demanded the Model 21 be built to the highest possible standard, and the craftsmen at the New Haven, Connecticut factory delivered. Every Model 21 features a hand-fitted frame-to-barrel lockup using a proprietary dovetail and brazing method that is unique among American doubles. The barrels are attached with a long mating dovetail and brazed into place. That joint is so strong it needs no upper crossbolt or extra reinforcement. The locking system uses cone-shaped bolts that automatically take up wear over time, meaning the gun actually tightens itself with use instead of loosening. Checkering is hand-cut. Wood is selected and fitted one by one. Bluing was done using Winchester's own proprietary formula. Total production, all years and all grades, was about 31,000 guns. The first 30,000 were regular production from 1931 to 1959. After that, the Winchester Custom Shop produced more on special order until 1991. Later, the tooling and rights went to Connecticut Shotgun Manufacturing Company. They still build Model 21s to order today, and pricing starts well above $20,000. So here's where the market sits right now. A standard grade Model 21 in 12 gauge was roughly $2,000 to $3,500 15 years ago. Today, those same guns bring $4,000 to $8,000 depending on condition and configuration. Move into 20 gauge and 16 gauge, and the numbers climb again. Step into higher grades, tournament, trap, skeet, custom, pigeon, Grand American, and now you're in a world where $10,000 is the floor, and $30,000 to $50,000 is realistic for exceptional examples. The 410 bore Model 21, only offered in custom grade, is so rare that pricing is basically whatever a determined collector is willing to pay. Only 8 Model 21s were ever made in 28 gauge. 8. Those guns are functionally priceless. The Model 21 isn't the kind of shotgun that crashes in value. It's not riding the waves of the tactical market or the political cycle. It lives in its own category. American hand-built craftsmanship that cannot be replicated at its original price point. If you own one, you own one of the finest mechanical objects this country ever produced. Number 1, Parker Brothers shotguns. Everything on this list has been building to this. Every shotgun we've talked about, from the Remington 870 Wingmaster to the Winchester Model 21, is a great American firearm. But a Parker Brothers shotgun is something else entirely. It is the single greatest investment in the history of American sporting firearms, and most people have no idea. Charles Parker's Parker operation in Meriden, Connecticut, is commonly dated to 1867 for the Parker Brothers shotgun era. For decades, up until Remington acquired the company in 1934, Parker produced what many historians, collectors, and gunsmiths consider the finest double-barrel shotguns ever made in the United States. Parker production under Remington ultimately ended for good in 1942, and that was it. no revival, no reproduction, no second chance. Every Parker shotgun in existence was built before 1942, and total production across that era was roughly 242,000 guns. That sounds like a lot until you understand the grading system. Parker didn't build one shotgun, they built a hierarchy. Each grade represented a higher level of engraving, fit, finish, and overall craftsmanship. From bottom to top, the grades were the Trojan, then VH, GH, DH, CH, BH, H, AH, and at the summit, the A1 Special. Lower grades were made in big numbers, higher grades were not, and the A1 Special, the absolute peak of Parker craftsmanship, was produced in a total quantity of fewer than 80 guns across the entire history of the company. Fewer than 80. Over nearly 7 decades of production, the A1 Special represents what is arguably the highest expression of the American gunmaker's art. Each one was hand-engraved, hand-finished, and stocked with the finest walnut available. These were shotguns built for presidents, for railroad barons, for the wealthiest sportsmen of the Gilded Age and the Roaring Twenties. Annie Oakley shot a Parker. Theodore Roosevelt's son received a Parker 20-gauge VH grade as a gift when he turned 14. And that specific shotgun, Kermit Roosevelt's Parker, was offered through Rock Island Auction in May 2024. And the A1 Specials live in a different atmosphere entirely. A Parker A1 Special sold at auction in 2006 for over $400,000. Since then, the market kept climbing. Today, a comparable gun would be expected to bring well over $500,000. A Parker A1 Special in a small bore 28 gauge or 410 is basically a museum piece. The value is whatever two determined collectors in a room decide it is, and that number keeps growing. But here's what most people miss, and this is why Parker Brothers is #1 on this list. You don't need to own an A1 Special to benefit from the Parker appreciation curve. Even the entry-level grades are rising steadily. A VH grade Parker in 12 gauge, the most common configuration, was a $1,500 to $2,500 gun 20 years ago. Today it brings $3,500 to $6,000. A DHE grade in 20 gauge has moved from $3,000 to $5,000 into the $8,000 to $15,000 range. And the trend shows no sign of flattening out. The reason is basic math. About 242,000 guns were made. Every year, some are lost to fire, flood, neglect, estate liquidations where heirs don't know what they have. The supply shrinks, it can never grow. And the Parker collector community is one of the most dedicated, most organized, and most well-funded collector groups in the American firearms world. They aren't going anywhere. They're buying, they're holding, and they've been driving prices upward with patience and consistency for decades. So if you inherit a Parker, get it appraised by someone who specializes in Parkers. Not a general gun dealer. If you find one at a gun show, especially in the smaller gauges, understand you might be looking at something worth far more than the seller realizes. And if you already own one, here is your one instruction. Do not sell it. Do not refinish it. Do not alter it in any way. Leave it exactly the way it left the factory, because originality is what drives Parker values. Advanced collectors will discount a refinished Parker by 40 to 60% compared to an original finish example. Factory condition is everything. Parker Brothers shotguns have appreciated at rates that rival fine art, rare coins, and blue-chip real estate. And unlike stocks and real estate, a Parker doesn't require maintenance fees, property taxes, or management. It sits in your safe, quietly, becoming more valuable every single year. That's why it's #1. Not because it's the most expensive shotgun on this list, but because it is the most reliably appreciating firearm asset in American history. Now step back and look at the full picture of what we just covered. 7 shotguns, 7 names that span 160 years of American firearms history. Every single one of them is appreciating right now. The ones at the bottom of this list, the 870 Wingmaster, the Ithaca 37, the Remington 1100, are still accessible. You can still buy them today at prices that will look like a bargain in 5 years. The ones at the top, the Winchester Model 21, the Parker Brothers guns, are already in rarefied air, and they're only going higher. The common thread tying all 7 together is the same. Each one was built in a period when American manufacturers prioritized craftsmanship over efficiency. Each one represents hand-fitting, hand-finishing, and material quality that the economics of modern manufacturing will never allow again. And each one exists in a finite, shrinking supply that no factory, no corporation, and no amount of money can replenish. They are not making any more pre-64 Winchesters. They are not making any more original Ithacas. And they are absolutely not making any more Parkers. What exists is all there will ever be. And the people who understand that are the ones holding, collecting, and watching their investments grow year after year, while the rest of the market chases the next plastic pistol. Here is exactly what I want you to do right now. First, go to your gun safe or your cabinet and take a hard look at your shotguns. Look at the markings, the serial numbers, the manufacturer stamps. Compare what you have to the models on this list. You might be shocked by what's been sitting there the whole time. Second, if you own any of these shotguns, do not refinish them, do not modify them, and do not let anyone talk you into updating them with new stocks or modern finishes. Originality is the single biggest value driver in the collector market. A worn, original finish Parker is worth dramatically more than a freshly refinished one. Third, if you're thinking about selling any shotgun, do your homework first. Get a real appraisal from a specialist, not a general pawn shop, not a big box retailer. The difference between what a pawn shop offers and what a collector will pay can be thousands of dollars. Fourth, if you're looking to buy, the lower end of this list is still reachable. Pre-1987 Wingmasters, original Ithaca 37s, early production Remington 1100s. They're still out there at prices that represent real value, and they are not staying at these levels. Fifth, pass these guns down. Put them into your estate planning. Make sure your family knows what they have and what it's worth. The single greatest tragedy in the collector firearms world is an heir selling a $5,000 shotgun for $300 because nobody ever told them what it was. If you made it this far, you now know more about collectible American shotguns than 99% of gun owners in this country. You know what's climbing. You know why it's climbing. And you know which guns you should never ever let go of. Hit that like button if you learned something new today. I put real research and real market data into every video, and that like helps more people find this information. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the collector market. I cover firearms history, market trends, and investment-grade guns every single week. The people who stay informed are the people who make the smartest decisions with their collections. Now here's my question for the comments, and I want your honest answer. Which shotgun on this list do you think is the most undervalued right now? The one with the most room to grow. And if you own any of these 7, would you sell or are you holding? Tell me below. I read every single comment, and the conversations in this community are half the reason I make these videos. Share this with anyone you know who owns shotguns, especially someone who inherited one and might not know what they have. That share could literally save them thousands of dollars. The worst mistake in the firearms world is selling a gun you can never replace, and every shotgun on this list is irreplaceable. Hold them, preserve them, pass them on. I'll see you in the next one.